Hey, welcome to another episode of Financial Theory. Today we are going to be talking about the 30 rules of money. It's going to be a big episode today, so grab a cup of coffee and strap in. The first rule of money is to recognize that making money is just a game. So like any other game, the more you play the game, the better you're going to get at it. So here's the difference between the rich and the poor. The rich are actively learning how to play the game, while the poor don't even realize they are playing a game. And here's the other thing. Creators and sellers are the rich, while consumers and buyers are the poor. Just keep that in mind. Rule number 2 is to understand the rules of the game. Like any other game in life, Monopoly, Uno, poker, you need to know the rules of the game to be good at the game. So it's pretty simple. Knowing the rules of the game, this will allow you to make better strategic decisions, which will lead to better outcomes. Let's say if you've never played Monopoly before, you're obviously going to suck at the game. If you've never played Dark Souls before, you're going to get massacred. The more you play the game, the better you're going to get at it. And the money game is no different. Rule number 3, a job can make you a living, but expanding your knowledge will make you a fortune. So with a traditional job, like a 9 to 5, there will be a ceiling to how much you can make. But once you gain incredible knowledge and you can use that knowledge to provide value for other people, that's where the amount of money you can make would be limitless. Okay, rule number 4 is to invest in yourself. This is by far the most important rule in my opinion. Invest in yourself just means having the skills to pay the bills. So what you got to do is learn a high value skill set, use that skill set to create value for other people, solve difficult problems for other people, and the amount of money you can make would be unlimited. So Elon Musk did say something on the lines of, you're paid in proportion to the difficulty, the problem that you can solve. So the more difficult the problem that you can solve with your skills, the more you're going to get paid. Rule number 5, don't be a slave, be a master. Avoid bad debt. So bad debt is essentially the modern version of slavery. If you don't have enough money to buy something, maybe you shouldn't buy it in the first place, because you're going to have to pay interest on top of whatever it is you're paying for that item. And avoid buying things that depreciate in value. For example, like a car would be, buying a brand new car would be a terrible investment. It's not really an investment because it's actually losing you money every year. It's depreciating in value every year. Avoid bad debt and focus on increasing your income. Rule number 6, spend less than you earn. Now this is pretty obvious, but a lot of people have issues with this. So you can't be spending more than you're earning, because then you can't save, you can't invest, you can't do anything. You're getting yourself into more debt. If you spend more money than you actually earn, you're getting yourself into bad debt. And if this goes on and on for a long time, you could be in a lot of financial problem and it would be nearly impossible to get out of. So please be careful about this. A lot of people have issues with this problem. Control your spending. Don't spend more than you earn. Rule number 7, saving will not make you rich. It doesn't matter how much you save. There is a limit to how much you can save. So focus on increasing your income rather than just focusing on decreasing expenses. So you cannot save your way to becoming a millionaire. It just does not work. You have to learn to invest your money. So please be aware of this. Rule number 8 is to have an emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? It's 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved in your account, just in case if there's an emergency or something like that, you actually have some money to live on. Let's say if you're investing in the stock market and you don't have any emergency funds in your account, and let's say your stocks go down, you would be forced to sell your stocks at a loss to get that money back and to use for an emergency. So you don't want to do that. You want to have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your account, ready to go in case anything bad happens. Rule number 9, time is your most valuable asset, not money. Now the thing is, the poor trade their time for money, whereas the rich buy assets that generate money for them, and then they can use that money to buy back their time. That is the difference between the rich and the poor in terms of their thinking. Now remember, you can always make more money, but once your time is gone, it's gone. You're not getting that time back ever. So you need to be aware of this. So rule number 10 is to invest time before money. Now this rule is true, especially when you are starting out in your life, when you're like say 20 years old. You're not going to have any money, you're not going to have any assets. So you have to trade some of your time to actually make some money. Later on, when you've actually accumulated at least some savings, you can actually start to use that savings to invest your money. But yeah, to start out with, you got to trade a little bit of time to make money, especially in your early 20s. Rule 11 is to focus on only one thing and become a specialist at that one thing. When you specialize in one thing, you become better than most other people that focus on many things, because you can't be good at everything. So instead of focusing on 10 different things and being average at those 10 things, just focus on one thing and be the best in the world at that one thing, and you'll still make a fortune. Rule number 12, abundance of wealth. The rich realize that to have wealth, you need to believe there is an abundance of wealth in the world. The poor see money as being limited. If you feel like you can never have enough time, not enough money, then you probably won't ever make any money in your life. So you got to change your mentality from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. This mindset will change your life. So having an abundant mindset will allow for growth and positivity and optimism and collaboration and sharing success with other people. However, a scarcity mindset focuses on not having enough time and money, which leads to fear and anxiety and making poor decisions. Rule 13, the rich predict trends before they happen. So usually the rich can see what's the next big thing that's coming up, and they get in on that thing before everyone else does, and that's how they become even more rich. So think of the 1970s, that's where the birth of the personal computers began. 1980s was where the personal computer boom happened and the arcade boom happened. 1990s was where the birth of the World Wide Web occurred, and that led to the dot-com boom. In the 2000s was the rise of mobile technology, and Apple released the first iPhone in 2007, which was massive. In 2010s, that was the big breakthrough for AI, especially with the computing power of GPUs, and that saw the launch of virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa. And 2020s to present was the release of large language models like ChatGPT. I mean, obviously ChatGPT has been huge the last few years, and I do believe it will continue to be huge in the future as well. And this shows the rapid advancement of machine learning year after year. Rule number 14 is don't hate the rich. I've met a lot of people in the past that seem to just absolutely despise rich people and successful people. In my opinion, I felt that you could hear the hate and the jealousy and the envy in their voices when they spoke about people who were successful and rich. I think that's a terrible way to think about other people, because just because someone's rich doesn't mean they're evil, doesn't necessarily mean they're greedy. It just means they were smart with their money and they knew how to create a business that generated money. For me personally, I find a lot of inspiration from rich and successful entrepreneurs, people like Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, and those sort of guys. I don't admire them just because they're rich. I admire them because, like Elon Musk, for example, I actually consider him a legit intellectual genius, because look, how many people can create businesses that become multi-billion-dollar businesses? Like, he does it so effortlessly as well. Show me anyone else that could do that. Not many people can do that. So I would classify Elon as a modern day genius. So yeah, please don't hate the rich. Learn from them instead and be inspired by them. Rule number 15, attract money, don't chase it. For a very long time, I had the wrong questions in mind. I was thinking to myself, how can I become more successful? But that was the wrong question. The correct question to ask is, how can I become more valuable to other people? That's the right question to ask. When you bring more value to other people, the money will come. You don't need to chase it. The money will attract to you like a magnet. Focus on being the type of person that attracts money and don't chase money. So you got to provide value for other people. That's the key. Rule number 16, use money to make more money. Now, the thing is, money actually wants to work for you. It doesn't want to just sit in your bank account doing nothing. If you do that, your money, it will eventually leave you. So put your money to work, put it into investments, businesses, assets, things that will make you more money, think of money as a worker for you. So you got to use money to make more money. Rule number 17, avoid a lavish lifestyle. Even if you're earning $1 million a year, but if you're spending $2 million a year, you'll never be financially free. There's been plenty of celebrities who have gone bankrupt because of this. They just could not control their spending and they just lived a very insanely lavish lifestyle. I remember in an interview that Johnny Depp said something like he spent $40,000 a month on just wine alone, which is kind of crazy. Cristiano Ronaldo's son spent $5,000 on haircuts a week alone, which is crazy. So some of these celebrities live like really insanely lavish lifestyles, and if you live that sort of lifestyle, you will never be financially free. It doesn't matter how much money you make. So this is something that you really need to understand and be disciplined with your spending. Rule number 18, become a business owner. Why is this important? Because businesses get more income and they get tax benefits. Now, why would the government give big businesses more tax advantages? It's because big businesses bring in the money. They're actually creating jobs for the economy. They're bringing in cash for the government. So that's why, of course, the government's going to be more nice to the rich people, right? Because it benefits the government as well. Having a business is really important in terms of boosting your income and also getting some tax benefits from the government. Rule number 19, be prepared for market crashes. So I'm not just talking about the stock market. Remember 2008, the housing crisis occurred in the US, and if you had a lot of money in your bank account ready to go, you could have capitalized on this situation and saved yourself something like 20% on houses when the prices of houses collapsed in the US back in 2008. So that's why it's so important to have money set aside just in case of opportunities when they occur, for example. And the 2008 financial crisis was a perfect example of that. If you had money to spare, you would have saved yourself something like 20% in purchasing a property, for example, during that time. Same goes with the stock market. I like to always have some money spare just in case if there's a big market crash in the stock market, I can go in there and actually buy a lot of great companies at a big discount. So having a lot of money spare lying around just in case if there's any opportunities during market crashes, it's going to be very profitable for you. So keep that in mind. Rule number 20, learn from the rich. Now, usually I like to learn from people who are a level above me, who have achieved more success than me, who are richer than me. And that's how you climb the financial ladder, by learning from people who are more successful than you, who are richer than you, who have achieved more things than you. By learning from these people, you become better yourself. So for example, what I've learned from Warren Buffett is the buy and hold strategy for stocks. And that's the exact strategy that I apply for my own portfolio. What I've learned from Elon Musk is you can't succeed in life without taking risks. Elon once said that even if the odds are stacked against you, if the goal is important enough, you should go ahead and do it anyway, despite the odds. What I've learned from Jeff Bezos is the customer experience comes first. If you're starting out a business, focusing on the customer's experience will be the main thing in the end. For example, Bezos focused on fast deliveries, low prices, which prevented Amazon from turning a profit early, but Bezos was focused on the long game. So he knew that eventually customers would catch on, and they eventually did. And now Amazon is an absolute monster of a company these days. But for a long time, Amazon did struggle to turn a profit. And I remember Bezos got a lot of heat from that, from investors and just from people making fun of him. But who's laughing at Bezos now? He's the man, you know? Rule number 21, focus on yourself and not other people. Do not compare yourself to other people who are more rich than you, because their strategy will be different to yours. So you can be inspired by other people and learn from other people more successful than you, but don't compare yourself and don't try to do exactly what they do, because their strategy, they're playing a different ball game to what you are playing. For example, someone like Warren Buffett, who's got billions of dollars, his stock portfolio, the way he invests in his stocks, how he protects his capital is going to be a lot different different to someone like yourself or myself. If you don't have billions of dollars, you're going to be playing a different game in the stock market. So focus on yourself and not what other people are doing. You can't control what others do, but you can control your own actions. So focus on yourself and not other people. If you focus too much on other people, what other people are doing, you will most likely make reckless decisions, increase your risk tolerance, and make bad decisions that will end up losing you money. So be aware of that. Rule number 22, network with the rich. Now, if rich people love to network with other rich people, it's because they know that it's important to network with other rich people to grow their business and expand. And also keep in mind that when you hang out with winners, you will be more likely to be a winner yourself. So just be aware of that. And also by networking, you can also collaborate with other companies and other creators like yourself to expand your business. Okay, rule 23, diversification. Now, the thing you got to understand about diversification is it will decrease your risk, but it will also decrease your profits as well. Let's say if you have a low risk tolerance and you have a short time horizon, let's say, for example, if you're a retiree, you're retired, this is where diversification will shine. It helps to protect the assets that you have, protect the money that you have, and also it still allows you to grow your wealth slowly. So diversification includes putting your money into assets like index funds, ETFs, gold or silver, bonds, defensive stocks, those sort of things. If you are younger and want to grow your money faster, you can't rely on diversification alone. So rule 24 is leverage. So essentially leverage is just using resources like capital, technology, people, media. You're basically using all these things to amplify your results. Essentially, you're trying to achieve more with less. So it typically does involve financial leverage, which is just using debt to boost returns, operating leverage, which is just fixed costs versus variable costs. So the leverage effect essentially occurs when your costs are fixed, but your revenue increases. So for example, a high operating leverage would be the software model where, let's say it costs you $10 million to build a software, but once the $10 million has been recouped, every dollar earned onwards would be just pure profit. So that is an example of a high leverage business model. Whereas a low operating leverage system would be something like in retail. Let's say a grocery store sells 10% more apples, but they would have to spend 10% more on buying apples from the farmer. So their revenue increases, but also their costs also increases as well. Utilizing technology and media, things like AI now has given new opportunities for businesses. So essentially you can reach a wider, massive audience by automating a lot of your business operations. So all of this basically aims to magnify profits essentially. So rule 25 is equity. So essentially when you own a stake in a company, that's where the real money is. This is the S tier of income basically. Let's say you have a 10% stake in Google, for example. If their businesses just goes up 10%, your income may double or triple that. So there's just basically no limit to how much you can make if you own a piece of a company as big as Google, for example. So equity is where the real money is made. Rule 26 is strategic partnerships. Companies work together all the time to, benefit from each other's audiences and from what they specialize in. So for example, Starbucks and Target, for example, they partnered together to increase sales through foot traffic from Target stores, cafes in stores. It just increases foot traffic and increases sales. So both businesses benefit from working together and collaborating with each other. Another example is GoPro partnering up with Red Bull to create extreme content, because obviously the two work very well together. GoPro is designed for people who do extreme sports and recording their activities, and Red Bull is designed to give people energy to do those sort of activities. So it actually makes sense for those sort of companies to come together and actually collaborate with each other and to benefit from the collaboration. Rule 27 is that money is a tool. Once you understand that money is just a tool to buy back your time, you're going to think a lot differently about money and your relationship with money. When you've got a mentality of a poor person, they tend to spend money on pointless things, just going out to concerts, eating out, doesn't generate any money. Whereas like rich people see money as a tool to buy back their time. In an hour, let's say if you earn $200, then you can actually just use that money to hire, let's say, cleaners or something. You can focus on more important tasks that will make you even more money rather than spending an hour cleaning your house, for example. Just pay a cleaner to do it. Probably cost you what, maybe $50, $100, whatever. But if you're making $200 an hour, then obviously that actually makes sense. You can actually focus more on the work that you're going to do to actually make even more income. So that's the differences in the mentality of thinking. The rich see money as a tool, whereas the poor tend to spend money on pointless things. Okay, rule 28, marrying the right person can make you rich, but marrying the wrong person can make you very poor. So obviously marriage is a big financial risk for most people. If things don't work out between you and your partner, then obviously you're going to have to lose half your assets and be paying child support as well. So, but then on the other side of it, if you marry the right person, you're gaining quality time with someone that you truly love, and you get to share your life with someone. And that is, for me, that is worth the risk. But having said that, you got to pick your partner very carefully because, like I said, if you pick the wrong partner and things don't go well, you could lose half your assets and you'll be paying child support. So even some celebrities have gone bankrupt because of this issue as well. So it's definitely something to be aware of. Okay, rule number 29, knowledge equals wealth equals freedom. Now, just remember that the balance in your bank account just reflects the knowledge that you currently possess. If you don't have much money in your bank account, then it just means that you don't have much knowledge yet. But there's still time to change that. See, the thing is, the more knowledge you have, the richer you will become. The more money you have, the more time you will have. The more time you have, the more freedom you have. So please just keep that in mind. Knowledge equals wealth equals freedom. Rule 30, patience is a virtue. Now, this is very true in building wealth. Building wealth takes time. I'm not going to lie to you and say that you're going to become a millionaire tomorrow. For most people, that's not going to happen. The odds of that occurring are very low if you won the lottery or something like that, but highly unlikely. Growing wealth slowly is, generally speaking, the best way to build wealth. And you need a lot of patience for investments and things to actually start generating you money. So if you rush into investments and FOMO into things, you'll most likely end up losing your money. So please be careful with this. Have patience, because patience is such an important aspect in building wealth. I'm going to give you one bonus tip, and that is knowledge without action is useless. So all this stuff I've been telling you about in this video and in my YouTube channel, it's cool that you guys are watching it, and if you're nodding your head, cool, that's great. But if you don't use the knowledge I'm giving you and actually applying it to your own life, then it's essentially useless. You need to take the knowledge that I'm giving you in these videos and actually apply it to your own life, and then you'll actually start to see results in 6 to 12 months. You'll start to see pretty massive results. But knowledge without action is pointless. So now that you understand the rules of money, you can actually play the game a lot better. Go out there and create something beautiful with your heart and your soul. Gain more knowledge, be wiser, be kinder to other people, and just try to live your life with passion is all I'm trying to say. Life is so short, so don't waste your life. Live your life with passion every day. For me personally, life has never been more beautiful since I applied all these things I've learned, applied it into my own life, and I've seen tremendous results within the 6-12 months. So I hope I've inspired you in some way to go out there and improve yourself, improve your habits, and sort of like be more aware of what's happening in the world around you, and so that you can become more successful in your own life. If you enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share, all that sort of stuff. All right, I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.